Welcome to For Lovecast, episode 5. Today I have Savanna B with us from Bend, Oregon, correct?
Yes, yes.
I guess we officially met in Bachata Paradise briefly. I feel like my memories from that weekend, like I kind of have the memory and I kind of don't have the memory at the same time. But then we reconnected online last year through For Love
hmm
Online, and that's been super fun to get to know you through social media since then. I'm really glad to have you on here. Would you like to get us started by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I live in a town of maybe 90,000 people and we're surrounded by a national forest. But we're 3 hours from Portland, and that's typically where I would go do most of my dancing if I would want good dancing. I work in wildland fire, in incident business, so the business side of fire. And I've been dancing since 2011. But yeah, again, I'm from a smaller community, so 90,000, surrounded by national forest. We don't have a lot of dancers here. So when I say I've been dancing since 2011, it's like very sporadic or dancing on my own without a partner. So yeah, I guess that's about me. Is that kind of what you were wanting to know?
Yeah,
Um, I
whatever.
guess hobby, like I love to snowboard, or I used to love to snowboard, but I don't really do that anymore because dancing is number one for me now. I like photography. Um, yeah, I think dancing is number one, and I do both. Yeah, bachata, and then I'll say I also do pole dancing. It's very fun too.
Yeah, you're super good at it.
Thank you.
I love all the videos you post. Um, so I feel like I kind of want to talk about the small town thing in a bit, but I don't want to start with that. But I feel like there's a lot to talk about there. So as always, I want to know what was your first experience with bachata? Like, how did you come across it? How did you feel about it that first time?
So I'll tell you the story of how I found bachata, and it's really funny. I didn't really dance or do anything like that until after college. And so I graduated from college in 2010, and then 2011, a group of friends. So a guy from our friend group had a crush on this girl. She worked at the clinic counter. And he asked if I would be his wing woman and go and pretend to buy mascara so he could just like get to know her. So he would be with me and then I'd buy the mascara. Well, when we went to talk to her, she invited us to like one of the bars in town to do some dancing. I guess a group of people went to a Reno Bachata festival, and I think it was the one that Joan Soriano was at. They had just gotten back from that, and they were all practicing together. And so she invited us to that. So I went to that dance night at one of the local bars in town. And there was probably like 5 people practicing together. And that's where my first experience with bachata was. And everybody was so new to it. I think mostly everybody had done salsa before. We had like one salsa dance instructor in Bend, and that's that's the experience that our community had with Latin dance. And so yeah, one of the people that went to the festival fell in love with bachata and was sharing it with some of the other folks. And yeah, that's my first experience with it. And then I started listening to bachata music on Pandora. So it was a lot of Aventura, a little bit of Toby Love, and then Monchi and Alejandra, and El Torito in Los Toros band. And actually, I fell in love with that kind of music first. I was like, what is this? They didn't really play a lot of the other stuff. I think I picked Aventura radio station and they played like those artists. So
Mhm.
I didn't really know about any of the other bachata artists, but I did really love El Torito at first.
I think
So
so. I started dancing really just officially the year before you, but I mean, my first contact was in college in like 2008, and my first artists were very similar to yours, And I think that was just maybe what was popular at the time, because Aventura was out in the early 2000s. Toby Love was up and coming. Monche and Alessandra were still really, like, they were, I guess I don't know exactly the time periods that they are. I feel like they're like the 90s and 2000s as well. But I could totally be wrong. But they were like, I don't even know what word I'm looking for. Like, they were important to everybody.
Yeah.
You had to listen to Monchi and Alexandra if you were going to like bachata. And
Yeah.
I can also remember when I did start dancing here in Pittsburgh starting in 2010, like El Torito and the Sordos band, like their music was
Mm-hmm.
also pretty heavy in the rotation. So I feel like that was maybe, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's probably reflective of what was generally popular with Latinos at the time.
Yeah. I would say my first experience with bachata dance too. So the popular instructors, which I think I've heard from a lot of people, were it was Ataka and Alemana,
Mhm.
and then Troy and Georgette. And so you have Ataka and Alemana, and they do like your modern style or just like mainstream. And then you had what people called the Dominican style, which was at the time Troy and Georgette.
Mhm.
So you like I knew from the beginning that there was a difference in the style. But I think everything was pretty much bachata at that point with the instruments for the music. There wasn't a lot of, as far as I know, like remixing top 40 hits to bachata beats as much.
Not yet. That I mean, the first time I can remember listening to remixes was probably within a couple years of that, like 2012, 2013. I can remember 2014 as well. Um, yeah, so I think it was coming, but you're right. Like, a lot of the music still kind of had the essential structure at that point, and also the dancing. There, it had
Yeah.
switched over into what is now, bachata sensual, which looks largely different
I
for
don't even know how to do that.
yeah. um yeah, so did you for you, was it like, were you hooked right away and that's what made you listen to it on Pandora, or was it like a slow build up?
No, I was hooked right away. I think I was hooked in so many different ways. Like I've always loved the music. And I think ever since I started, I probably listened to bachata. Like I listened to it mostly every day, but probably back then maybe it wasn't every day. But yeah, I could feel the music in my heart. Like that's the first time I was like, oh, I really feel this. And then I just really liked connecting with people. So yeah, dancing and just sharing that connection and expressing yourself through movement. Like I fell in love with that. And I had never really done that kind of thing before. So yeah, that was a new experience for me after college. Never really danced before. And yeah, I met so many friends that I still like, they're all my really good friends today. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Yeah,
Very
because before that, I think I just hung out with coworkers because I haven't been here my whole life. So those were my friends. And so after that, it's like, I have dance friends, dance family, and it's brought so much into my life.
mhm.
Yeah.
Agree. I think we can all relate to that. And
Mm-hmm.
also something very special about the first people you bond with when you start dancing, because they're your safety net.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first friend I made, we met at a salsa class, but I was still too nervous to like go out by myself, like downtown.
Yeah.
I was too nervous to show up by myself, because I think it's also like, if we think about American culture and like the other things we do, like I wouldn't just go to a bar by myself.
Oh
Like,
my gosh. Yeah.
I need some friends. So for me, it was like, go dancing by myself, like, woo. So
Yeah.
she went with me. And obviously, like, now I would not hesitate to go out dancing by myself, but
Yeah.
there was something special about that, and she and I are still friends. Like,
Yeah.
we bonded over dance. She is a great friend. She did move away, so she doesn't live in Pittsburgh anymore, but we're still good friends.
I love how you mentioned that you didn't want to go by yourself and you go by yourself all the time. Like, I think that's something that dance brought to me is I used to be pretty shy. And I, yeah, it was so liberating the first time I went salsa dancing by myself, which was pretty early on when I started dancing. But I went to Portland. I didn't know anybody that wanted to dance or could go, and I really wanted to go. And so I just was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I just went by myself. And I think I grew so much from that because I was so scared and I made myself do it. And that, like, that moment on, like, it just helps to really put yourself out there and do stuff that makes you scared. And now it's like no big deal. I go out to places all the time and social dance by myself. I lived in Portland for a little while and I would go out by myself, yeah, every night. And I don't know, some people think like, if you're sitting at the bar by yourself and you're looking around, like somebody came up to me and said I would look like I was looking for a man or something. Like, no, I'm not looking for a man. I'm confident in myself. I don't need somebody next to me. I'm here to have fun. And yeah, that's just your projection on me. That's not what's happening.
Yes. Was it a guy that said that to you by
It
chance?
was a guy, and I put him in his place.
I wonder if that was like a pickup line.
Oh, maybe.
Because I I love those moments when we're like, what? He was trying to pick me up. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that is what that is. Because I don't know, men try so many different lines and oftentimes they're
Yeah.
huge flops. Like, this is slightly off topic, but I was dancing when it happened. One guy came over to me one time. I was waiting to get a drink at a dance event. And it was like one of those events where there's like non-dancers there that they're the people that really like stay at the bar. They keep the night going because they like to watch dancing and be around it. And he
Yeah.
came to me and he was like, "You have 1 minute to tell me why you're so special." And
Ooh. Ooh.
huh? And I mean, I was like so mad when he did that. Like I could feel it rising up. And when I could finally get words to come out, I was like, all I could say was like, I didn't tell you to come over here. Like, why would you approach me like that? And I've since learned, some other guy explained to me that that's like a strategy called negging, where it's like you give
Yes.
a negative comment to get a reaction.
Mhm.
But with
Yes.
me, like, don't, that's a bad strategy. Don't do it.
Yeah. Just be genuine. Don't do the pickup artist stuff.
But I could also see like if a woman had made that comment to you, because I can also remember, it's so funny, like when I was new to dancing, like all the rumors people would start, like if you had a friendship with a guy, I remember this guy, like we were like a little like oil and water, and there was never any romantic or sexual tension. It was just like our personalities, but we would talk a lot at socials. Sometimes we would come in at the same time, like by chance. And at that time, like I was sometimes asking guys to walk me to my car, depending on like where it was, how far away it was. And he would have been someone that I trusted, like to be safe to do that with. And so I guess I started hearing like these rumors, like, Jess and this guy and da da da. And we're like, ew, like, no. But yeah, like you said, like that's somebody projecting their own insecurities. Cause for me, dancing doesn't have to be about that.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, especially if you want to be around those people all the time. You have to be, like a little bit mindful of who you.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I feel like I had that conversation with someone like very, very recently. Like it feels like it was days ago. Like dating the same people that your friends have dated. Like if you are not, I don't know, again, words are failing me right now. Like if you are not careful, if you are not very mindful about what you're doing, you can end up, all dating the same people very easily in the dance scene.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like that's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah. Or it can just get weird and like you still want to go out dancing, but you don't want to see that person anymore for a while, anyways. Yeah.
It is hard, especially because you're not always in control of whether you can split from someone amicably. Like
Mhm.
I had one experience where I was seeing somebody and it wasn't a good experience, like the split. Like I was not being respected and the person was being like a little manipulative. So of course, like I didn't want to see them. But for me, I ended up with the two choices. Like I either have to learn to deal with this or I stop dancing. And for me, stop
Yeah.
dancing was a no. So I had to learn to deal with
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
not everybody makes that same choice, you know?
Yeah.
So you have
Mm-hmm.
to practice discretion. That was the word I was looking for before.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep. Um, I was going to tell you about my first experience going out salsa dancing by myself, or oh, salsa. Well, I really wanted to bachata dance because bachata was my first experience, but it was mostly salsa people in Portland.
Mhm.
And so I told you I went out by myself and I was really nervous. And I was really looking forward to whenever the bachata song would come on. And I saw this guy and he looked like he was a good dancer and that he'd be good at bachata. So I asked him to dance, and um, I remember him commenting to me like, "Oh, you need to relax. You're so nervous." You know, like when people comment to you when you're social dancing and then it just makes it way worse. And especially because it was my first time going out by myself, I was already really nervous. Like my energy was probably kind of weird. And yeah, I really wanted to go home after that. Like after he was commenting, you know, when we're having a dance together and he's commenting on like uh how I'm dancing or what my, you know, what I'm doing. That made me feel really uncomfortable, but I'm just really glad that I stayed. But I think people need to be aware of what they say to people when you're having a social dance. Like if it's not feedback that was requested, you know what I mean? Because you don't really know where somebody's at. That was my very first time going out by myself, and I was pretty new to bachata, and I wanted to go home after he said that to me, but I did stick it out. But that's happened several times when people have given like unsolicited feedback in the middle of a social dance, and you really don't know where somebody's at, you know.
That is so problematic. And you're right. Like, I don't even know where to start about that. But yeah, I mean, I think so. One of the first things I wanted to say as I was listening to you, um, was like when you're new, like you said, like they don't need unsolicited feedback. Like they know they're new. This is the time to go like, yeah, you did it. You know, like just cheer them on.
Yeah,
So excited for new dancers. Like you stuck it out. You made it a whole song. You made it a whole night. You know, we don't need to be giving newbies unsolicited feedback because they might not be ready to understand what you told them. And then like the other problem, or they might not be open to it, like they might be very vulnerable, and what you're about to say is going to like crush them, which is not
mm-hmm.
helpful for learning. And then the other thing is like I know I've gotten a lot of unsolicited feedback, um and this was once I was a more experienced dancer, because when I was new, like I didn't know what was right and what was wrong, and I pretty much trusted whatever anybody said. But once I
Right.
was a more experienced dancer, I'd been through more training, like I remember someone like giving bad advice, you know,
Yes.
or this one person came up like, you know, and I had done training on like salsa spin stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I could really tell your spins are getting better." Meanwhile, it's like that's like you just slapped me in the face a little bit, but
Yeah.
the thing is, he was so off. Like his spinning was bad. Like the way he prepped and set it up, like he was cranking this big circle. So I feel like I'm having trouble staying in place. Plus, I get so scared every time he does it. Like I like, you know, like trying to protect myself, and then to
Yeah.
have this person that scares me go, "Oh, your spinning's getting better. Keep working on it." Like pat on the back, like you know, like
Yeah.
we all, I think, need to humble ourselves sometimes. Like we are not all perfect, um
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, I think sometimes people ask for advice and maybe it can be genuinely helpful, um but
Yeah. And the delivery is important too. But I mean, if you think
very important.
if you I mean you're like if you see a girl, she's by herself, she looks nervous, don't make it worse. Like give her a smile, like change the energy, right? Like
Oh,
um
poor thing, you look new and
no,
scared.
it's like that's what I try to do now too. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the best dancer or anything, but if I ever dance with somebody and I can tell they're new or they're nervous or something, like you just gotta like smile and be sweet to them, or and it really changes. I feel like it can change their night.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you say the wrong thing, like it, and somebody is not in that headspace, like they could go home and you don't know, you know. Um, yeah, I had somebody laugh at me when I was in Seattle dancing, and that's kind of uh, yeah, because I wasn't doing like sensual stuff. Like I don't know how to do the sensual stuff, and I looked really awkward. And so they laughed at me, and then they like basically mocked the move that I had done. They're like, "Come over here, come look in the mirror. Let me show you what you just did." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is." And I like got an Uber and I left. I felt so uncomfortable after that, you know. So I think people need to be careful about what they say because again that night I was supposed to go out with friends and they all bailed. They weren't feeling good and I was in Seattle. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go dancing by myself. So I went dancing in Seattle and yeah, this guy gave me that feedback and I was already kind of feeling a little uncomfortable. And yeah, so when he laughed at me and told me to look in the mirror, I was like, okay, I'm out. Like you just kind of ruined my night. So um but yeah, I told you I do pole dancing, but after that, so I started doing pole dancing after that so I could gain confidence. I'm like, okay, pole dancing is going to really pull me out of my shell. I'm going to get really comfortable with myself. Like I'm going to get in touch with the sensual side because everybody's like doing the sensual bachata stuff and I'm so awkward. So that's why I started doing pole dancing and it's really helped me with my confidence in a way that I didn't think it would, you know, like I'm more comfortable with myself and I just can express myself in the way that I want to, not the way that somebody else tells me to, because that's the way sensual dancers dance. So I'm glad I learned that. And if somebody did that to me on the dance floor now, I would just tell them what's up. And I've been doing that, you know. So if somebody laughed at me, like I would tell them what's up. Or, you know, if somebody made a rude comment to me on the dance floor, I would just leave them. Like I'd be like, all right, I'm not having fun anymore. I'll see you later. You know, I don't know. I'm glad I'm at a different point now than I was before. But yeah.
This whole mini conversation, I think, really highlights something that's important. And as a dance community, especially as a dance community that is always trying to get new dancers because we either want to grow it to support multiple styles or because we're trying to replace the dancers that are kind of leaving because they're having kids or, you know, they're moving on with their life and they can't come out as much. We need to nurture new dancers. You know, we need to be responsible for how we make them feel. And I know there are so many people, because I've had conversations with them, that feel that how other people take their actions is not their problem. You know, and there are times where I think that mindset applies, but it's a really selfish mindset when you think about it. Like, how that newbie feels about what I said to them is not my problem. Like, it's not my problem that they're, you know, emotionally vulnerable. Like, no, you're just kind of being a jerk, is what it is. Because if I really care about people, I'm going to try to make them feel comfortable. And I'm going to understand that everybody's coming here. Like, people with legit trauma show up to dance because it sparks something in them, it gives them hope. But it can also be a very dangerous space because we make physical contact and because people that would otherwise like not have a reason to talk to you now can come ask you for a dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are all like in a very vulnerable space and I think we just need to be very like, I don't know, like loving and understanding of that. Like you might be coming here and be practicing your bravery and practicing like making like reclaiming your safety, and I should help you in that process. I should not make it worse. I should not remind you of the things that, you know, you're scared about. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's my perspective. But I know there's a lot of people that are very firmly like, how other people take my actions is not my problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And I think some of the new dance styles can be a little bit controlling. And like I think sensual can be cool if you have the foundation, like maybe you have Zouk or whatever it is, and you can do the movements properly and stuff like that. But sometimes some of those movements feel like very controlling, and like sometimes you don't want people to force you into sensual movements, right? Like you want to choose what kind of sensual movements you make. So yeah, that's why I felt so awkward, you know, and that's why I started doing other things to get used to these sensual things. And then I realized, like, you know what? I don't have to do these movements that are like what's expected. I can just pick what I think is like how I want to express my sensuality. And that's why I like the traditional style more, because it feels a little bit more um, like there's freedom to express yourself. And to me, it feels a little less controlling. Like you can do movements to the music and it's not as forced into these movements as the sensual style. I don't know.
I would agree. That's my experience as well. I mean, I personally have similar issues. I don't like to be forced into things. And I might have said this on the last podcast. I don't know. I've said it in, in the recent past about like, when I was new to dancing and it was still kind of like urban, modern bachata, and I was still into like Toby Love and Prince Royce. Not that I don't like them now, but I was really into them because they were really popular then. I love body rolling, but I love doing it when I wanted to do it. And as
Yeah.
soon as it became a dance move that people were leading, I don't like it anymore. And it's
Yeah.
easy to look back and be like, that was the thing. Like I did not like people pulling. I don't like people pulling on my back. I don't like people
Mhm.
forcing me into bends. Like I don't like it.
Yeah.
Um, but with traditional bachata, with bachata, um,
Bachata.
you almost never have that. Like aside from a random like rough lead that might, as they're doing like cross bodies in bachata or something, like you might feel like pulled at your wrists. That's like mostly the worst thing that's like happened in traditional bachata.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like, again, if you are a sensual dancer and you have that solid foundation and maybe you even have a Zouk background, maybe it's not as bad. But yeah, if you just learn from like the YouTube, and then or if you go to these classes that are really flashy and then you just try to pull it out on the dance floor, then yeah, that just feels real awkward. That's when I think that you feel like you're being forced into stuff.
I think,
And maybe
yeah, I mean, I think what you just said is exactly the problem because I don't want it to seem to anyone who loves bachata sensual that I'm like bashing on it because
yeah.
or like when you do dance with like Daniel Sanchez of Daniel and Desiree, you feel remarkably safe with him. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because his lead is the full package and he's not going to lead you into something that he's not confident that like you're making a connection for. He's not going to force you. Like I'm sure he does like that build up, right?
Yeah,
Like Juan Calderon years ago at DC Bachata Congress taught this like red light green light concept. Like you try these little moves. If you get a green light,
exactly.
you can try like this move and you can move it up. But if you get a red light here, do not try
Yeah.
this, you know? And so Daniel
Yes.
understands that and you feel safe. And there's lots of
Mhm.
well-trained people that make you feel safe. Like there's a Zouk dancer in DC named Kuna. He teaches Zouk mostly, but you will find him in the bachata room sometimes at congresses. And he makes me forget all about, you know, traditional bachata when I dance with him because
Yeah.
it's an amazing lead. You just
Yeah.
suspended in time, just following. So like, I'm surprised as hell that I'm following all this because I don't practice it. But, it's the leading and people who don't really invest in making their partner safe through their technique. They do lead to people like us feeling the way we do, like, ugh, I don't like this. Like, I'm not going to stick around because I don't like dancing this way enough to put up with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while you were learning, and you kind of have mentioned that you were like sometimes going to Portland, but you also had like your one salsa teacher in Bend. How were you learning bachata? Were you only learning through social dancing, or did you find an instructor? How did that go?
So yeah, we had the one salsa teacher in Bend, and I took like maybe like a few months of lessons from her. And then we had a guy in Bend that also started teaching, and he was relatively new, but he would go to festivals and then he would try to teach what he learned. And he would do like a one night a week at one of the local bars in town. So I was practicing with him, and then we would like beg people to dance with us that were at the bar, because honestly, it was like 5 people. So we would go up to random people, and that sometimes didn't work out so well, depending on who we grab. Um, yeah, but we did. There is like a little bit of a dance community here. I would say like 10 to 20 people, and they do have a team here. And they're like more of the island touch type style, because they've done their franchises. And but me, I didn't do that as much. After a while, I would go to Portland, and then I would just go to dance festivals and social dance. And then I would buy online instruction, or not online, DVDs at the time. And then I would just practice on my own with my friend. She had a mirror in her garage, and then I'd go over there maybe once a week and we'd practice together. But we always looked forward to when we could go to Portland or to the next dance event. And I've been dancing since 2011, and I feel like it hasn't been until recently where I've started actually getting like advancing quicker. But there was a long time that went by where I didn't feel like I had a good space to practice. So I wouldn't really practice unless I went out social dancing, which social dancing was really limited here. So I really didn't progress until recently, where I created a space for myself. I invested in a big mirror. I invested in like a TV where, a mounted TV where I could watch online stuff. So like your Zoom classes, I can watch it up on my TV and watch myself in the mirror and practice, or I can take Zoom classes from people like Carico in Germany and project her on my TV. Yeah, and I put my mirror in my main living space to where I make sure that I practice all the time. Like it's right there in my kitchen/living room, so I can't not practice. But before, no, it wasn't like that. If I did practice, it was like in the office on carpeted floor, really tight space, and I couldn't really see what I was doing, so I didn't really know if my body movement was correct or not, and I really just didn't do it. So
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't practice at home enough. Like I'm not motivated, which I think I've learned so much from the pandemic, because there are so many opportunities to do things online, and I don't. Like I love yoga, but I will practice more if I go to class 3 times a week, and I've not
Yeah.
been able to keep up that schedule during the pandemic. I've been going just once a week to be safe, classes are very small, and it's also very competitive to try to get one of the 8 spots in class, and I should very easily be able to supplement with some online practice, but like I've just not been doing it the way I would imagine, and I also find myself missing like, okay, if I can't see my friends, can I at least go to Zumba? No, I guess I can't go to Zumba. Like, you know,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like really motivated by like that social atmosphere.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I've been okay with like online lessons. I don't know, maybe I was just more dedicated to that one. I don't know what it is, but I have been actually very pleasantly surprised at my ability to learn online. Whereas if you had asked me, before the pandemic, I would have told you like, no, I don't like it. But again, like you, I started thinking about how can I make this work. So I got an Apple TV so I could easily like screen share my laptop to the TV. Also, like with For La Bachata Online, what I offer is like the download, so you can watch it again if you're like, what was that thing? Like that was hard for me. Like I can just go back and like replay that segment. Like what is it?
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that, and I know I'm like the organizer, but I love being able to go back and be like, oh, I want to practice the syncopations with Argenis and Carolina again.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how they were, and I'll take the workshop again. Like
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that, but I also I do struggle with it. So it's really cool to hear how you've helped yourself stay motivated this year.
Yeah. It's amazing. I'm so happy. Yeah. I've just, like, we didn't have these kind of opportunities before. I mean, again, I had the DVDs, and then I just got Instagram within the last couple of years. But it's cool because you can just reach out to people and ask them for a Zoom private now. You know, I didn't even know what Zoom was before the pandemic, but it's really cool because then you get that quality of instruction. Like there, you know, I want to learn. I want to learn how to dance like the Dominicans dance. You know, and I love bachata music, and so yeah, being able to reach out to people who are really connected with it
Mhm.
is it's so awesome living in a small town, you know, because we do have bachata here, but it's not really the way that I want to dance it. And I think that people look really good doing it the way they want to do it, and they have their style. But I never connected with the way that they do it and the kind of music that they prefer here. So I do kind of feel. I think there's a couple people that maybe like it the way that I do here, but I think I'm pretty much I mean, even when you go to Portland, there's really not a lot of people that like that, you know, like the same kind of music that I like and the same style of dance, which I feel like is more, I like it how they dance it in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
hard. Like it's growing in popularity, which is just so ironic that like the original form is growing in popularity. Meanwhile, like the offshoots have been more popular. I know it's definitely growing. I've noticed like all with all the instructors worldwide, with the way social media can connect us and we can become, more united. Um, but like I totally feel you because even in Pittsburgh, we're a city of 300,000.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know where that line cuts off because we're also a city where many like most people live in the suburbs. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine it's 300,000 people all downtown. Um but I'm interested where that line like cuts off. But anyway, so we're also like a smaller city. We have a larger dance scene than you, but it doesn't compare to like New York or DC or anything like that.
Yeah.
And also like the time period that you and I started, like bachata was just not really liked very much in general. Like some people
Mm-hmm.
liked it, but they didn't ever question the status quo of salsa as king. And like I love
Yeah.
salsa. I'm still a salsera and I want people to know that. But like I also felt very deeply connected to bachata and wanted bachata
Yeah.
to have more I want to have more opportunities to dance it. So like I had to be the change, right? And I
Yeah.
wasn't the first one to try to change it, but I think a mixture of like the timing and also my methods, just a mixture of things helped me have more success with it. But even with that, okay, so I've been promoting like 8 years now. People love bachata so much. Like you will never find a night that is like all salsa anymore because people are not as used to all salsa anymore. But I notice people still don't dance like Dominicans dance here. And it's just like, okay, I have more work to do,
Yeah.
which is why I'm gonna start teaching this year because I would like
Good.
to spread that
Yeah.
and give people a weekly opportunity to practice because I realize I'm like, okay, even if they are coming twice a year to my festivals, that might not be enough to really alter their way of dancing. Like you said, like when you have
Yeah.
intermittent opportunities to learn and practice, your growth is going to be slow. When you
Yeah.
can add more, right, you can experience faster growth. So um I totally feel you with that because it is really challenging.
And I do actually really like, I think this whole pandemic thing has been also a blessing in the way that, um, like if I go somewhere and they're playing music I really like, but maybe I don't want to do the bendy stuff, like I can just dance by myself and I enjoy that. Like, I learned how to dance by myself and, feel the music. And I really enjoy just dancing by myself now. And then also, I can lead now. I'm not great at it, but if you want to do dance a certain way, then why not learn how to lead? Because then you have a little bit more control over what you do. And so I think, yeah, if you want to dance a certain way, you don't want people to do certain movements on you, then learn how to lead. And so I think that's been another good thing about the pandemic is just, I think I've learned to lead a little bit more and then also just dance by myself.
Mhm.
And yeah. And then I think when you dance by yourself, like, You put out those good vibes, and people are more willing to ask you to dance rather than if you're just standing there looking like, you look upset, but you're not upset. You're just waiting for somebody to ask you to dance. Like Kriko put out a video like this, but really, like if you put out those good vibes, people really will come to you and ask you to dance. Even if you're standing in the corner.
It will that is so true, but it will backfire sometimes if you're like, oh, this is like, times I've been in an event where most of the music was like remixes, and then they play a classic song,
Yeah.
even if it's Nereida that you hear at every event when people don't have a large repertoire. It's an awesome song, whatever. Even if it's that, sometimes like, I've got to dance this by myself because this is like a sacred moment. I'm not going to get it again. I want to dance it the way I want. And you start dancing by yourself, and someone comes up like, oh, poor thing, let me save you. And then, and suddenly you're like, my my little bachata's face is now gone because I want to be nice to you.
Yeah.
So it can backfire if dancing by yourself is your way to give yourself that slice of joy that you really, want your way.
Yeah.
It is, in general, it's a very good strategy because
Yeah.
people are drawn to that and they know, like, okay, she's here to dance,
Hmm.
you know? So,
Yeah, I think it's cool. That's like a cool thing if you could do one thing in social dancing, it would be cool if people gave people a little bit more space for expression.
mhm.
Um, and I know some people do, but like if you are somebody that wants to like hold on tight and dance close, or if you want to put people in certain movements, I think it would be cool if people could just be mindful about give people a little bit of room for like creative expression if you're a follow. You don't always want to be
Yeah,
like sometimes you want to like feel the music to and express it too.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So, tell me about what it was like to go to DR and dance there.
Amazing. So I've been there 4 times now.
Wow.
Um, and I'm gonna keep going back like as much as I can. So the first time I went was in 2013. And they didn't have a festival, like a local festival like they do now. I think they had like the uh
Was it the DR series?
yeah, they had those, but I didn't know about those. So I went to Bachata 2 in 2013. And then I went with my Vancouver, Canada friends after to Las Arenas. And we went to La Bodega and then danced with some of the people that are now like they're teaching at all the local festivals.
Hmm.
But that was my favorite. Like dancing with people after the festival, going to like see the local people and dance with them at La Bodega and like their energy and their I don't know, the people in DR are just amazing. Like every time I come back from DR, my heart is like full for 2 weeks. Just the people, the culture, the music, like how you can walk by anywhere and people are just listening to the music outside the store, like drinking their Presidente or their, whatever drink and just chilling. And
Hmm.
I love that. That's amazing. I wish we had more of that. And yeah, and tropical and all the kids running around and, just being free spirited.
Yeah.
I
I've
love all of that.
with it. I definitely feel freer the times I've been there. Um,
Yeah. And it just seems like, I mean, I know that like people can be in some pretty bad situations there, but it just seems like people are like have that happy vibe in general and they don't have as much. Like I wish, you know what I mean? Like sometimes we get bogged down with things and we don't appreciate what we have, but it just seems like people there seem to appreciate things more. I don't know. I get that vibe from some of the people.
yeah, I think it does point out something about our culture. Like we are, I don't know, I feel like I've been reading so much stuff on this lately, but like we were a very individualistic society. We're not like community oriented. Um, we also, and this is something I find myself struggling with lately, like we don't do very well like dropping everything and just finding joy in the moment. It's always like work, 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 work. Like the next thing will bring me happiness, but then you get there and there's a next thing and a next thing and a next thing, like what you said, I think reminds me of that. And I think when you see examples of people just being joyful regardless of how much they have, whether they have a lot, whether they have a little bit, whether their life is hard, whether their life is, nobody has an easy life, but less hard. Just reminds you like happiness is available to me right now too. and,
Yeah.
and they are, I mean, they are a joyful culture a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the time, like when I went in 2011, that was my first experience. And I was in Santo Domingo at first. I was trying to study Spanish. It kind of backfired because I wasn't leveled appropriately and I didn't feel challenged. I should have taken private lessons in retrospect. But it was a good vacation. So I was in Santo Domingo at first. Then we went to Savanna for a weekend, but I didn't go to Las Terrenas because I didn't know about it. And we ended up in Sosua in the north,
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Plata.
Mm-hmm.
And I have memories of like, especially in like Sosua and Samana, like when people serve you food, like they serve it with joy. When you order your food, like they're proud of it. They're proud to like share it with you, or meeting new people. And yeah, a lot of times it's like, ooh, white girl, you
Yes.
know. Um, but I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of joy there and a lot of pride at their country, which they do have a lot to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like a little gift to go have,
Yeah.
like, share that with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love TR. I can't wait to go. I would go there like twice a year if I could. Um, yeah. Oh, I was thinking about my favorite dance I ever had, and it was in Dominican Republic, and it was at the last Bachata Paradise when we went to the car wash. And it was, I think it was a guy, like an older gentleman who had just gotten done playing baseball, and he had his like pajama pants on over maybe his, I don't really know what was happening, but he had his pajama pants on, and then socks with slides. And I asked him to dance, and that was so fun. It wasn't fancy or anything, but like it's just cool to dance with the local people. And that was probably my favorite dance of all time. And it was super simple. And yeah, I love that.
It talks about the
Yeah.
power of simplicity, because
Yeah.
so often when we're new, we think, oh, I have to learn the fancy things. And I am not innocent. Like, I also was the new dancer that wanted to be sexy,
Mhm.
wanted to
Yeah.
find a style. So there were times where I was over styling, like,
Mhm.
it's embarrassing when you look back sometimes, like the things you did because you thought that's how you made your dance better. But
Yeah.
as much as styling can add to the way it looks on the outside, that's not the most important thing. What it feels like is the most important thing. And
Yeah.
I know, I just kind of wish new me would have appreciated that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
And
I think also bachata gives us a really good reminder of that, because once you get into it and you realize how amazing it can feel to be like connected to your partner, and just like how the basics when done to the music feel so good, but you can't see that from the outside. Like, before you know how that feels, it looks like it's boring. you know
yeah.
I think bachata really illustrates this concept for us, but the unfortunate like catch 22 to it is like you have to invest in it to get to that point where you understand,
Yeah.
or you have to trust somebody and just have faith that what they're talking about is real.
Yes. Yeah, and it seems like when you're first learning, like you feel like you know a lot, and then once you start learning more, then you realize like there's so much to learn even when you know a lot. And yeah. Um, and it's cool in DR because the other cool thing about that car wash that night was like the different timings. I was able to like dance with somebody and I think they were dancing on 3 maybe. And I got to I had to like relax myself and close my eyes and just feel it because I wasn't used to dancing on a different timing, but it's cool to get to experience that too because often we're not doing the different timing. So I really think that's cool about going to DRs. Just more that connection with the music and that they feel it so much and that they can dance on all timings and yeah.
It is amazing. That's something I'm still working on for myself. Is getting comfortable in the other timings, but it's like I've spent years dancing on one.
Yeah.
Hard and like a lot of my habits for what happens when there's a break, right? At the 4 or the 8 or whatever you want to call it, where you start on one, like it's very intuitive, like to pause for that. But if you're dancing on another timing, like it changes the way you react in a break. So I'm still like learning to adjust myself. Like, do I just keep going through the break if I'm on a different timing? Do I pause and then pick up my step where I left off? Like, but when you can find those moments where you're in it, like it feels so cool to experience bachata a different way. Like how cool is it like that you have multiple options for how to feel a single song and like that literally has nothing to do with even the basic steps you choose to do. It's like literally just when you do that basic step, it's going to make it feel different.
Yeah. Yes.
I find that so cool. But it is hard for people like us that are not exposed to that earlier.
Yeah. You really do have to relax and let your mind go because you want to fight it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to think because you've answered like a lot of the things. I really love how this conversation has just been flowing. You're making my job a lot easier. All right. If you could change one thing about the bachata community at large, and your interpretation of bachata community can be whatever you want it to be, but what would you change about it?
Um, yeah, I just really think that like we need to learn like I may not have done this at first either, but like definitely when we're first learning, having the foundation. So like understanding the music, understanding the culture, like where it came from, and then etiquette. I think those things are really important. And I think a lot of people focus on the moves and tricks and stuff like that. And that's where you get into like some awkwardness with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like, you can't feel the essence of the dance because you don't understand where it came from. And like, I just feel like you can feel the music so much more if you have that understanding, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. One time, though, I was talking with someone and trying to make that point, and he asked me, he goes, how would understanding where the dance comes from change my experience? Like, why would I need that? And I was just like, like, it was so unconscionable to me.
Yeah.
That would not be an enriching experience. Like, I was like dumbfounded, but I mean, I believe in my experience, learning the culture has like exponentially increased my appreciation for and like enjoyment of bachata.
Yeah.
And like even just trying to explain to him like bachata comes from Dominican Republic, modern bachata is like a Western thing, kind of influenced by salsa. Bachata sensual was created by Corky and Judith in Spain. Like there are different cultural aspects to each of these different like styles. And he just felt like that should not like carry any weight on his understanding. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to, but I feel like if you're listening to bachata music, so with the instruments and the singer, and they like probably music that maybe both you and I might like from the Dominican Republic. If you have an understanding of where the music came from and all that, like you can hear the passion or the bitterness or the whatever, like you can feel it in your heart, right? Like you can hear it in their lyrics, you can feel it in the instruments, and then you can feel it in your body. But yeah, um, if you don't understand that, like if you are listening to a margal or whatever bitter, like a bitter song, and then you're like, you know, dancing all upbeat and happy. I don't know, like I just feel like there needs to be like an understanding of, I don't know.
You did highlight like an opportunity, like how understanding it can just very easily unlock that, like, oh, okay, I understand the themes. I understand like the emotion behind the song. And dancing is a way to play with our own emotions or release our emotions, right? Um, so I don't know. I feel like it should definitely be an enriching experience to really understand, especially, and this person was not someone who was bilingual, so they did not understand Spanish.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm not very good at Spanish either.
but I don't know. For me, but the thing is, like, I've always been like a culture nerd since I was a kid. I love learning about other places and other people and their cultural practices. So for me, it's very easy to be like learning culture is enriching. Yes, like I'm with you since I was little. But for me to hear that an adult feels like knowing the culture is not enriching it surprised me. Like I didn't know what to say.
Mhm.
As you were talking, I was like, yeah, understanding that like amarre is like the source of bachata, and along the way, some of the singers like started romanticizing it. Like Raulín was one of the first ones, but then there was also that period in the middle where it was like very sexualized and like double entendre with like Tony Santos and Blas Duran, and like just understanding what you're working with. Because even as a DJ, like I gotta be careful playing their songs. Like some of them are very good, but some of their lyrics are very vulgar. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I feel comfortable playing. Sorry, that was my puppy. She knocked over something. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it should be easy to understand, but I don't know. That's so interesting. But I'm with you overall. I'm with you on that one. So on the flip side, what's one good vibe thing you would add more of to the bachata community?
Mm. Um, more of. Ooh, I would just add like more good music. Like I would add more um music with all the instruments. I would add, yeah, I think add more of, or like have people doing more of like uh going to events that is more true to what they like. Um yeah, so I don't know. I sometimes I like the smaller events where it's more the style that I like. Like it doesn't have to be so big. Um I would rather have quality over quantity. More people starting to do that. I don't know if that's even a good answer.
Your answer
um,
is whatever you want it to be. I
I
definitely
don't
like that.
uh,
And I think there was at least before the pandemic, I think everybody was trying to have like the next biggest thing, right? Like because big appears to be an indicator of success if you can get a lot
yeah,
of people. But I
yeah,
think there are many ways to define success, and one of those, as I think you were insinuating is not the word I want to use, hinting at, I guess, uh, is like they're better feeling sometimes. Like the
yeah,
way you feel after a small weekend event could be different from that large event that had lots of people, right?
yeah,
You can't know necessarily, like size doesn't necessarily tell you how
Yeah.
people feel in their heart when the weekend
Yeah.
is done. Because a small event could leave you, and I honestly, I think my favorite events have been small events
Me too.
because I
Yeah. I
connect with the people and the artists, and I go home feeling like I'm bursting, right, with love
yes.
for bachata and for people and for the community. And even though they didn't have the numbers that a Congress would have, they were
Yeah.
extremely successful, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like more connection, more good music. Yeah. I want more connection. Like the big events, where everybody's like sweating up on each other and like there's so many people and you don't even get to know anybody. Like I would rather just have that. I want connection and I want good dancing, good music, good vibes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
After all of these years, what does bachata mean to you now?
Mm. I, yeah, I guess it's just a lifestyle now because I listen to it every day. Like I dance to it every day. And yeah, it makes me happy. And what does it mean to me? Yeah, I guess it's a lifestyle more than anything.
I like that answer. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's part of you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start winding down with some quick questions. And I know these are hard. I also would struggle with them, but just answer them
Okay.
as authentically as they can come to you in this format.
Okay.
Who is your favorite music artist for bachata?
Um, so for older stuff, like I like Luis Segura and Leonardo Paniagua.
Mhm.
For like my favorite, like his voice, Luis Miguel del Margue, is like in his angel voice. Um,
I like
and
it. Tell him.
Joey Venas. Yeah, and then Romeo has like an angel voice for like the newer generation. Yes,
He
I
really
like so many. There's so many. I can't even choose.
I know. I'm a DJ. I can't. Well, I do have a favorite artist, but sometimes I think I stick to it out of loyalty more than anything, right? Because when
Yeah,
you love a lot of music and you listen to a lot of music, it's really hard to choose. Okay.
and I think my favorite lady artist is Andre Velos.
She,
She's cool. She's cool. She's got a cool personality, and I like her music.
yeah, she, um, I was connected to her through social media like years ago. I think she might have reached out to me. I don't know. Um, but it's been very fun, like watching her grow as an artist and to observe her, like her social media, like she's like a full artist, right? She's not just someone that makes music. She's like an artist through and through.
Yeah,
And you
she's
see,
clever.
yeah, I like her. So we'll have to remember to tag her when I put this out. Okay, do you have a favorite song?
Right now, I really like that Luis Segura and Luis Vargas. Or no, I'm sorry, not Luis Vargas. Anthony Santos, and I think it's called. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I know he just released those like four.
It's like Miami Bay or something. Hold on, I can remember what it's called.
I've been
Oh, Las del Maimbe. Yeah,
okay.
I really like it because it like starts off slow and then it just picks up and it's really fun to dance to because you can just do all kinds of things. And
I'll
then
that
of
one.
course, like for old one, I like Fue de las Dos.
Leonardo Paniagua.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite social dance partner? Like someone that you
Um,
well with all the time?
yes. Um, well, I dance with Chris in San Diego. I dance with him a lot. Mm, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else because I am by myself here. Mm. Oh yeah, and then there's okay. So you remember that guy that laughed at me? Seattle. I ended up seeing him in Portland a lot, and he's actually really cool, and I really enjoy dancing with him. And I did actually tell him, like, "Hey, dude, don't say that kind of stuff to people." Um, he's he's actually really cool, but yeah, we had a good interaction after that. But he's one of my favorite dance partners too. He's from the Dominican. Well, he's Dominican, and but his parents are from Dominican Republic, and you know, he was born here. But so he has a little bit of like a funky style. I really like dancing with him.
That's awesome.
His name's Raul.
I'm glad that that story has a happy ending.
It did. Like, I mean, really, you can tell people, like, some people just don't really know how they make you feel. Like, they don't mean to do it. And so I'm like, dude, just don't do that to people because they take it the wrong way.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's so true. Okay, do you have a favorite dance instructor?
Um, I love Kariko, of course, because I really connect with her the way that she teaches. Like she really explains things, and she does body movement, and then she incorporates cool little things that because I can't do fast footwork. I would have to practice it for weeks to be able to do it. So I really like how she can give me things to incorporate into my basics that make it look better
Hmm.
without having to do too much.
That's
So
great.
yeah, Farico is one of my favorites.
That's really good because she's coming to Four Love Bachata next month. I can't wait
Yeah,
because I'm not sure if I've ever had the opportunity to take a dance class with her. I don't think she's
I
done.
took privates from her, and she would have me record myself, and then she would critique stuff, and I thought that was so awesome. Like that's a good thing to do.
My puppy is biting me.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
She's so bad. And I told you, I gave her a whole like rawhide, and now she's still gnawing on me. All right, we just got a couple more questions. Go.
Okay.
Um, do you have a favorite event to dance bachata?
In the States, my favorite one was DC. DC, and I haven't gone there for a really long time, but that was my favorite one in the States. And then let's see. Yeah, DC. And then I always just love to go to DR. And if like a local person is organizing an event where they take you from town to town, that is my favorite.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to those. I feel like I say this on every episode, but my teaching schedule doesn't allow me because they always do them during the school year. Oh my God, this puppy is killing me. All right, what is on your bachata wish list? It could be anything.
Um, yeah, I just really want to go back to DR, and I think I'm going to do that pretty soon and just train with some of the local instructors there. That's on my wish list, and I'm going to make that happen soon. And then, yeah, for festivals, I want to go to Keloke. Have you been to that one yet?
No, because that one, ow, oh my God, she's biting me so bad. Um, that one happened, yeah, because they've done it, what, 2 years? 3 years. The first 2 years was on my weekend for Forlo Bachata. And of course,
Oh yeah, that's right. I
it
think I heard you say that.
yeah, like it doesn't affect like our crowds or anything. Like I have no bad blood when I say that, but it just like I can't go when you do it
Yeah.
on the weekend. Um,
Oh
do
my gosh, she's
you,
so
do you want to get
DC, right?
an episode? Yes. Everyone can see her. She is 5 months old and
You're
still
getting
hasn't
big.
calmed down. I know. Everyone keeps telling me like their dog advice, like it's gonna help, but she's just energetic. Let me see if
Yeah.
um yeah, I want to go. Kalo K looks amazing. But yeah, just the timing, and also I think for me, even though I'm on the East Coast, whereas you're on the West Coast, so you going to Sweden would be a lot longer. It's still like far enough because that would be like 6 or 7 hours in a plane. I don't really get a whole lot of time off of school. I can maybe make it a 4-day weekend, but that's like a
Yeah.
lot of traveling for a short weekend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one year I'll be like fortunate enough to be able to like take a year off of work and like travel to all the bachata festivals. I don't know if
Yeah.
it happen, but
The one in the States that seems really cool is Baltimore. Like I always see people posting about that one, and that one seems amazing. Do you go to that one?
Yeah, I've been hired for that one the last several years since Raj and Dola took over the management of it. That one has been really, really good, and it was supposed to be extra good last year because they hired like all of us that work in Bachata. Like, um, I think I'm trying to remember all the details. It was definitely me and Ron from Denver. They hired Aguito Arts, Juan and Melanie, Carlos Cinta, Lisa and Dima were supposed to come. I know I'm missing people. I
Yeah.
can't possibly remember. I don't remember if he. I don't want to say anything.
DJs are so important. And oh, that is one thing I would change. Like good DJ. Good DJs makes the event.
But you did say like you would add more good music, and I think that goes hand in hand because you need good DJs
Yes.
to put good music.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, don't chew my sweater. Somebody like send an SOS. I don't know if I'm gonna get to her.
It's like, girl, stop talking. We're done.
I should have at least gotten this amount of time with that rawhide, but anyways, yeah, I like your wish list a lot. I also want to go to DR and like I kind of want to go have a vacation slash bachata, like mini bachata week. You know, like where I kind of like take the lessons I want, like reach out to Elizabeth and reach out to Fariseo and reach out to like everybody and like, figure out my own program with them. And, that's one of my dreams too. Okay. So last thing, if you could explain bachata to someone in just 3 words, what would you say? Your face got so serious. Just 3 words.
Okay. Maybe I'll just say all the feelings.
All the feelings. I like that. All the feelings.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks for inviting me. Like, yeah, I've never done anything like this before, so I really appreciate you thinking of me.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do something different when I started realizing that all of the podcasts coming out for dancers were we're interviewing the same people. And a large part of our community is left out when we ignore the contribution of social dancers and the stories of social dancers because I don't know, like even in my local community, there are stories that like the dancers that have been dancing salsa for way longer than me have that like I can't relate to because these venues are no longer there, but they're these amazing times that they all reminisce about. Like these stories are powerful, and I'm really glad that I don't know that the idea came to me, and that I'm able to talk each month with in person and hear a different story, and also find like, oh wow, like we're in different situations, but like I have a similar feeling, right? Or I had a similar experience. Like it's also nice to see the threads that connect us.
Yeah. And I was telling you too, I was listening to your interview with Isolde, and she was like, oh yeah, because she dances so good. And she's like, oh yeah, I watched Carlos Cinta's DVDs and that's how I learned. And I'm like, oh, I have those. I'm getting those things out so I can dance like her. Yeah. So I like that about your podcast. Some little nuggets in there.
I'm so glad. That makes me really happy. Okay, so before we close, if people decide like Savanna is awesome, I want to be Savanna's friend, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I do have Instagram, and I don't have a lot of friends, so if they want to be my friend, they can request me on Instagram. It's like, I think it's like, you'll put it in there, huh? Like somebody.
I gotta think it's.
I don't really know what it is.
Yeah. Okay. I will definitely look it up, and I will put it in here. I'll have it in the show notes, and I will promote with it. But yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you. And I'll see you at your event coming up. Yes.